Gopala Astrology channel, where the science meets astrology for common man's understanding. Subscribe and stay tuned to this channel for continued astrological updates. Welcome to Gopala Astrology channel, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, today the video is going to be on lunar eclipse, the penumbral lunar eclipse that is happening on the night of 24th of March on certain countries and morning of 25th of March 2024. Okay, in this video, we are going to try and understand what are the effects of this penumbral lunar eclipse on all the zodiac signs or Rashis. Okay, that is the first thing, and also we will try to understand the global impact and what are the effects of this that is generally happening and how long this effect is going to be. The real answer is from 25th of March to 8th of April, wherein we are going to have the solar eclipse. It's known as the total solar eclipse that is going to happen. I'm going to make a separate video for that on the 8th of April 2024. Okay, so this effect is going to be for a couple of weeks from now, and we need to understand what impact it is going to happen, and it's going to be a kind of mild eclipse compared to the solar eclipse, which is going to be a big one for this year 2024. Okay, so for this penumbral lunar eclipse, let's try to understand what are the details and also try to understand how we get affected as individuals with particular nakshatras, that means the zodiac signs and constellations. All right, so let me just share my screen here to understand and go through the presentation slides. All right, so the title is extremely clear here that we are going to understand the penumbral lunar eclipse and its effects on all the zodiac signs. All right, so the first thing is the date is clear, 24th of March night and then 25th of March early morning in certain Asian countries. Okay, so before we even jump on to the eclipses itself, we must understand that there are two types of eclipses, the solar and the lunar eclipse. And even in the lunar eclipse, when the earth comes in between the moon and the sun, this phenomenon is going to happen. You can see that the sunlight is coming here and the earth blocks that portion that is reaching the sun, reaching the moon. And when it completely blocks, we call it as total lunar eclipse. Now what is happening is penumbral lunar eclipse, which is rightly shown here. And then there is an umbra region and penumbra region. Umbra region is total darkness there, whereas penumbral is partial. So certain portion is lit and certain portion comes in the shadow of the earth, and that is what is going to happen the day after tomorrow. All right, so let's try to understand the astrological significance and also what is happening on that particular day. It's a Purnima. That means it's a full moon day. In India, it is known as Holi Purnima. So what is the significance of this beautiful auspicious day? It is happening on that particular day. So you must understand that there was one time, this is a Puranas time, significance of this is explained in Puranas, okay, wherein there was a guy by name, a demon who is known as Tarakasura. He had to be killed because he was destroying everybody on the planet Earth. So what they did was they found a remedy from the Brahman that the child that is going to be born between Shiva and Parvati is going to kill this demon Tarakasura. So, and at that point of time, Shiva was in deep penance. You can see that he's sitting in Himalayas and he's in deep penance. Now he has to be woken up, and so that he can unite with Parvati and a beautiful son, Shanmuga, would be born. So for that to happen, they go and ask Kamadeva or the Manmadhar, right? So he's the one who goes to Lord Shiva and tries to put an arrow on his heart with a flower kind of an arrow, you know, so as to activate Shiva. So in that process, what happened, unfortunately, was Lord Shiva opened his third eye, and because of his anger, the Kamadeva got killed and burnt into ashes. So this is called the Holi Dahan, right? So it is being burnt down. So in real effect, later on, Parvati was also put side by side to Kamadeva. After seeing Parvati, Lord Shiva got attracted to her and then asked for a boon, and then she said that she needs Kamadeva to be back alive again, and that's what happened. And in the essence, why this Holi Dahan means it's burning of the holy fire, is done. Why? Because we have to burn certain karmas, or the certain desires, unnecessary desires that comes in our body. So we are going to burn it out, so that all the mundane things and general desires, which is not good for the society, is burnt off. And that's the significance of the Holy Purnima. Okay. So anyway, that is from the mythological point of view, but I'm more interested in astrophysics. What exactly is happening on this day, and the path of the eclipse as well. So you can always see that this is not appearing in India. For the viewers who are seeing this video, please understand it is happening in the daytime. It is 10:23 in the morning it starts, and the eclipse gets finished by 3:02 p.m. in the afternoon. So you will not have the visibility. Actual eclipse is happening in this part of the world. Both the northern South America, the western part of Africa, the western Europe, and some part of Russia, and also Australia, New Zealand, especially the eastern part of Australia. So these are the places which for which the eclipse is visible. In India, it's not visible. So there is something called Sutak, right? The certain achara and vichara has to be done during the eclipse time, which may not be necessarily be done in India because it's not visible, but whereas in other parts of the world like US and Canada and all, and of course Europe, you need to do certain acharas and vicharas, right? That means you should not cook the food. There are certain procedures that you need to follow. Please kindly follow it for your own betterment. Of course, lunar eclipse is much milder eclipse compared to the solar eclipse, which is going to happen in 2 weeks from now. But to be safe, I have given certain do's and don'ts towards the end of this video. Please be watchful on that. All right. So now I am more interested to tell which are the Surya Nakshatras that are affected. See, it is happening. This nakshatra of Purva Falguni in Kanya Rashi is being affected. So that means whatever is under the Surya, the sun nakshatras we call constellations, namely Kritika Nakshatra, it is a part of Mesha Rashi, a portion of it, and the majority, 1/3, is in Mesha Rashi, the 2/3 are in Vrishabha Rashi, right? So that portion of the constellation of Kritika is affected. Uttara Falguni is affected, of course, and then Uttarashada. People who are born in these three nakshatras have to be more critical, have to do certain prayers, and they may be afflicted by this eclipse. All right, so they need to pray to Lord Vishnu because it is happening in Kanya Rashi, which is the ruler of Kanya Rashi or Virgo is Mercury, and the deity which is associated with Mercury is Lord Vishnu. So listening to Vishnu Sahasranamam during the eclipse for these three category nakshatra people will be very beneficial. All right, so let's exactly understand what happens on that particular period when the eclipse is going to start. So I have put this as 10:23 a.m. in the morning, New Delhi time, on the 25th of March. Okay, it would have already become the next day in India. So I have just put this. You can always download Jagannath Hora. It's a free software, and then you can always replace New Delhi with your own place where you are residing. Okay, and then you can see the chart and then the ascendant as well. Now, when I put this, it becomes a Vrishabha Lagna at that point of time, and these are the planetary systems. So the critical part here to understand is this. So the nakshatra of Purva Falguni, you can say, Uttara Falguni. I'm sorry, it's not Purva Falguni, it is Uttara Falguni. So Uttara Falguni, fourth padam will be running at that time. That means the moon will be in the background of this constellation of Uttara Falguni, and then it is linked with Ketu. Right, so this is very critical. If you put the Kala Purusha Kundli and understand if it is Mesha Lagnam, this is happening in the 6th house, right? And then you must understand what is happening to the Lord of Kanya Rashi. I'm talking about purely classical astrology. According to that, Virgo is also ruled by Mercury. So Mercury, where is it placed? Mercury is actually right there in deep debilitation in Pisces, in Meena Rasi. And that too, there is a point here, I have put it here as Gandanta point. What is Gandanta point? Gandanta points are very critical in our zodiac system. Hindu zodiac system, we say that whenever there is a transition of a planet from a watery sign, for example, this is Cancer zodiac sign, when the planet moves, the last few portions, like the last 1 degree of this particular Rashi, before it enters the fire, is called fiery zone of Leo, or Simha Rashi is known as Gandanta point. So there will be 3 Gandanta points in our zodiac system. One happens between Karkataka Rashi, or the Cancer zodiac sign, and the Leo zodiac sign. And the next one happens, the liquid sign is, the watery sign is Scorpio or Vrishabha Rashi. And then the next immediate sign is Saggitarius, that is also a fiery sign. In the same way, we are now going to have this Mercury being placed in the Gandanta point between the zodiac sign of Pisces and Aries. Aries is a fiery sign, and then Pisces is a watery sign. All right. So we have to be very, very clear that if you see the degrees and minutes, 29 degrees of Pisces and 24 minutes. So it is perfectly a Gandanta point that is happening to this particular planet, Mercury. So who is the ruler of that particular house, especially of this Kanya Rashi. So what is the significance? You must understand why this is so beneficial. In my opinion, if I analyze properly, the owner of the house is in Gandanta point. So whatever is the Karakatva of that house, that particular portion is going to get rebooted in your life, right? It is going through from water to the fire. So the planet is going through this Gandanta point, which will make sure the certain pending decisions in your life, which is related to that particular house, will get vanished, and you will make a decision and it will be solved. Any pending court cases will be solved. So that is the significance of this particular event, celestial event of Chandra Grahana. All right. So let's try to put some more light here. I will come to this later. I'm just trying to show you the same thing what I just mentioned. I'll just put it more pictorially here. The event is happening in Virgo zodiac sign, wherein Moon is engulfed by Ketu, and Rahu right there in the zodiac sign of Pisces, where Sun is there. So let's try to understand which are the planets and which are the houses in which they are placed. All right. The Aries will be occupied by Jupiter, Guru Bhagwan, right? And then the Pisces is occupied by Rahu, who is engulfing very close to Sun in the next 2 weeks' time, and we will call that as Rahu Grasta Surya Grahana. Okay, and then you have Mercury there in the fag end of the Pisces. Okay, and all this is according to the sidereal Indian system of astrology. Those who are following Western system, please don't get confused. And this is purely sidereal system. All right, and then we have Aquarius. It has got the Capricorn, the Saturn, which has just got away from Sun. That means we say whenever the planet is close vicinity towards the Sun, they are known as combusted planets. So Saturn has just come out of the combustion because Sun entered Pisces, which is a very good sign to happen. And you can see the enemy Mars is very closely placed with Saturn, and then Venus, who is a good friend of Saturn, is also there. Venus is a very good friend for both Mars and Saturn, which is there as a pacifier here. So all this event is happening, and what is the significance of this astrologically? Let us see. See, in the world, things like this can happen. Suddenly, a chief minister of a state is being arrested, and everybody was seeing him as a hero of their state, and now he turns out to be a villain. So because of this Gandanta point change, a man who is supposed to be leading the state is being put behind the bars. It is possible. A lady who is like a chief minister's daughter is involved in a scandal or involved in a particular a lobby, and then that's called liquor lobby, and then she gets arrested, right? So things like unfortunate things like drought in states states like Karnataka. I'm just giving one example in India. This may happen in several other places. You know, the groundwater is completely dried out and things like that. People are suffering for water, and sudden attack on on the Moscow news came out just this afternoon, and such situations are likely to happen in this type of events, right? So the Gandanta point is very critical. Now, so why did I say so much about it? So let's try to understand each zodiac sign. I have given the basic meanings of each of the 12 houses, and we will see for each zodiac sign how it is going to be affected. Okay, so let's start our journey from Aries or Mesha Rashi. All right. So what is happening in the zodiac sign of Mesha Rashi and Mesha Lagna? So I have very clearly told in the past that you have to give equal weightage for the ascendant as well as the moon sign. Ascendant will tell you what is happening practically in your life, and moon sign affects our thought process. So which are both are equally important. All right. So from Aries point of view, this event is happening in the 6th house. So let's see in this chart, what is 6th house? 6th house talks about enemies, health, okay, litigation, digestion, power over enemies, you know, and illnesses. See, bad planet in the bad house is Raja Yogam. So some ill effect is happening in a bad house is considered as a good thing for Aries ascendant personalities. That means they are going to see that they will fight back the enemies with a lot of courage, and they will be victorious. And then the employees, that means the subordinates working under them, will start listening to them more frequently, and then they will be successful in managing the manpower, right? So those people who are in the corporate sector, I'm saying, and those people who really have some illnesses which did not see medication in the last few months will get some medication. They will find out a doctor who can give the remedy. Such good things can happen also through this Chandra Grahana, right? So that is what happens for Aries ascendant and Aries moon sign personalities. Let us now look into what happens for Taurus or Vrishabha Lagna personalities or Vrishabha Rashi personalities. For them, if you count here, it is happening in the 5th house. So this 5th house represents what? 5th house represents children, creativity, spiritual practices, okay, honors that you have, all that, you know, the social media work that you do, all that creativity is seen in the 5th house. So what is happening for them in the 5th house means the effect of eclipse will try to spoil some relation with the children, and you will get more worried about children, right? And your creativity may come down a bit. See, I told you positive things for the 6th house because this is a negative event happening in a negative house. Minus of minus becomes positive, whereas for Vrishabha Lagna personalities, 5th house is a very positive, 5th house is a very positive house, but for them, it will not be positive that much, right? So this is a negative event happening in a very positive, creative house, 5th house. So they will have to work on spirituality. They have to make sure they have a constant mind. The wavering mind can come for them, and the relationship with the children can get spoiled for these 2 weeks. You have to be very cautious on that. All right. So after this, let's go to the zodiac sign of Gemini or Mithuna Rasi, right? So for these people, it is happening in the 4th house. So let us see what are 4th house characteristics. 4th house represents mother. That means the health of the mother can be affected for these Mithuna Rashi personalities. 4th house represents emotions. They get chances to get more emotional on their decision-making abilities, right? So happiness at home, domestic happiness at home can be affected. The real estate, you may buy a wrong property and then end up in trouble, right? So for the next 2 weeks, I strongly recommend the Mithuna Rashi personalities not to sign any deal on the real estate. Don't buy any property, any movable or immovable property. That means both, even the cars and vehicles, and also any new signs and deals that you may do for your business. Please do not do that for 2 more weeks. Okay. So next one, let's go to Karkataka Rashi. See here, what is happening? Moon is always afflicted during the Chandra Grahana, right? So moon is with Ketu. So now what is this Ketu doing for the moon? So Karkataka Rashi is ruled by, the Cancer is ruled by moon, which is the in original classical astrology. So moon represents our mind, and the Karkataka Rashi people are having this event happening in their third house. Okay, so third house is all about what? So let's talk about the third house. Third house is all about younger siblings. Your relationship with younger siblings can go wrong if you can avoid talking to them seriously during these 2 weeks. It is better. Okay, your mechanical ability can come down a bit. You may get into some kind of weakness in the body, and then the speech that you are going to give, the talk that you are going to give, the skills, communication skills are going to subdue. It gets reduced. All right, anything related to short journeys is seen in the third house. I would strongly recommend you guys not to do any short-term journeys, especially Karkataka Rashi personalities. All right, so let's go to the next one, Leo. For Leo zodiac sign people, it is happening in the second house. It is happening in the second house. So what is the second house? What it represents? It represents your income. Anything that you value can go wrong in this time. And then it's also father's created family, right? So there could be some kind of misunderstanding, arguments, and heated arguments can happen with your own siblings who are in the father's created family. So just avoid any conflicts. All right, and then the food that you eat may get into food poisoning, very high chances. And then you may get into some teeth related issues. You may have to see your dentist, and also any of your advisors and close friends can turn into bitter enemies if you get into heated arguments with them. So avoid all these things. Try to not spend much money because your income is going to reduce if you make any major decisions related to your incomes in the next 2 weeks. All right, so that's about the thing. Now the real drama is all happening for Kanya Rashi personalities, okay, especially the Uttara Falguni Nakshatra. So that is where the major event is going to be experienced. The venom, I'm showing the snake here. The Rahu Ketu represents snake for some reason. All right, so the venom of this eclipse is really felt for Virgo ascendant or Virgo moon sign personalities, especially if your nakshatra is Uttara Falguni. So you have to be very, very cautious. Especially it can affect your relationships. So if there is a long-term relationship poison that is happening, you are having some troubled relation with your spouse, you may even end up in separating from that person. And you'll make a proper decision. The God is going to give you this celestial event to make the decision to happen. It would have been very difficult. It could have been a very toxic relation. And now, because the ruler of that Virgo is in the Gandanta point, it gives you courage to make a decision, because you are jumping from water to the fire here. I'm talking about Mercury. So it will make you make a decision to move away from your spouse for good. It will be good for both the spouse and also yourself. All right, so that is one. It will be a bit difficult for them to digest this instance that is going to happen, but at the end of the 6 months from now, they will realize that whatever decision they would take in these 2 weeks would be very good on their long term. So Kanya Rashi personalities, make sure you do not quarrel much with your spouses and all that. Suddenly it can ignite some quarrel, and then you can end up in separations and things like that. So be cautious. And these 2 weeks, and also the upcoming solar eclipse in this axis, is going to be very, very critical. Okay, let's move on to next one, Libra. For Libra ascendant or Thula Rashi personalities, it is happening in the 12th house. So let's try to understand what is 12th house. 12th house is all about far distant lands. That means foreign countries. Suppose your visa, 12th house is a negative house actually, losses, right? So now this negative event is happening in the negative house. So minus of minus become plus for you. So if at all your foreign visas were getting upheld for quite some time, it may give you some good news in next 2 to 3 weeks time, right? And then if there is a possibility of meeting a guru, spiritual guru, that may get enhanced during this period of time. You may meet up a guru who can teach you what is known as the spiritual practices. All right. So it also represents hospitals. If you are sick, you did not know whom to meet, there will be a right doctor who will put you in a good hospital and give you a very good treatment. So you will be coming out of these troubles during this period of time, and you may also wish to go to foreign countries as your visas gets approved. All right, so it's a good point for Libra ascendant personalities. Now let's go to the next zodiac sign of Scorpio, right? Scorpio ascendant or Scorpio moon sign, Vrishabha Rashi. So for these people, it is happening in the 11th house of incoming gains. So it is actually a large network circle. So 11th house is all about eldest sibling. Again, the elder sibling try to take control of events that wants to happen in the house. So be cautious with them. Do not argue with them. All right. All your incomes is likely to increase. There may be a job change also. You may start thinking about it. Long time you have been deciding. Last 6 months you want to get rid of this job. You want to go to a higher paying job. And that can happen during this period of time. And that decision making I'm talking about, you may decide that, yes, I must make a move from this job to another one. And that will give you a very positive effect. All right. And even the solar eclipse also is beneficial to you. All right, let's go to Saggitarius or Dhanus Rashi personalities. For you guys, it is happening right there in the 10th house of job, profession. So a negative thing happening in the positive house is not good. So the career success will get into trouble. You may lose your current job and you have to take a small break and then before you get into another job. Their fame and reputation can be affected. Of course, it is also known as the house of father in some context, but actually it is more of 9th house, which is father house. Okay, so 10th house is all about the job. So there will be some change in your job that you can expect, and that is going to get triggered in the next 2-3 weeks. All right, so it's not a very good sign for Sagittarius personalities during this eclipse. Okay, both the eclipses. The next one is Capricorn or Makara Rashi. For Makara Rashi personalities, it is happening at the 9th house. Yes, this is where the gurus, right, or higher education. If you have been trying to look for higher education, it may get delayed. You know, there will be some new policies that will come by the government or whatever, and then it can, you know, demotivate you to some extent. And please do not plan for any journeys during the 9th house represents long distance journeys, foreign travels as well. For you guys, it's going to be a bitter experience during the travel. Better do not go for any pilgrimages or any foreign trips at this point of time. Okay, keep praying to get a right guru, you know, which may happen in a negative way this time. You may find a wrong guru. Okay, you may find a person who advises you wrongly, and then you end up in making mistakes in your life. So the next 2-3 weeks is just for prayers, and it is not for any good decision making for Capricorn ascendant personalities as well. Okay, so a lot of drama is happening in Aquarius personalities. That means Kumbha Rashi is going through deep Sati, Saturn's 7.5 years period of time. And now look at who are there already, the two negative deadly enemies. The fire is Mars and Saturn is oil. Both of them are getting ignited. Luckily, there is a pacifier here, Venus, who is the friend for both of them. Right? For you guys, it is happening in your Astamasthanam. So 8th house is actually related to sudden events, right? Sorry, let me go to this house. 8th house. 8th house is all about partners, resources, anything sudden events, you know, sudden death. So I'm not saying a person of this Rashi is going to die or anything like that, but it gets triggered. Certain negative thoughts can come in your life, and whatever is related to occult things can happen. You know, somebody may spell chant on you. It's quite possible. Okay, so 8th house is getting afflicted, and anything related to insurance may get delayed. You know, you are expecting some insurance money to come to you, you want to claim it, it may get delayed. And 8th house is also sudden events like accidents, it can trigger. So please be very cautious when you're driving the vehicles and do not speed up. All right, so it is the time for more of prayers. Listening to Vishnu Sahasranamam will be very, very beneficial. And lastly, let's talk about the zodiac sign of Pisces or Meena Rasi. So for you, it is really happening in a very important axis, okay, 7th house of your spouse, and it directly influences you. So the Rahu is already there. It is afflicting your name and fame. It is giving you trouble. You are also going through Sade Sati period. 7.5 years period of Saturn is making you down as well. So for you guys, the rescuer was Jupiter. And this Jupiter also will move out to Taurus on the 30th of April 2024. So after April, end of April, you will have some kind of frictions in your life, you know. Decision-making ability of yours will go haywire and you may make mistakes. So be cautious. Please keep praying. Keep your Saturday prayers up and keep praying regular prayers to Saturn. And how is this lunar eclipse is affecting you? You may get into trouble with your spouse, right? So what is the 7th house? So 7th house really represents about spouse, business, partners, the foreign trade that you may be doing. If you are a businessman, you want to make a foreign trip and get the trade up, that is possible to get a negative deal, you know. You may end up in losses. And then if you are trying to build a home in the foreign land and things like that also gets affected. So the relationship, intimate relationship with the spouse also gets affected. So the people of zodiac sign of Pisces must be extremely cautious with their spouses. Okay, the relationship can get spoiled, and some long-awaited decisions of separation. That means if there is a court case going on about the decision to be made by the judge will say, yes, your divorce is sanctioned, and things like that can happen because of the movement of Mercury in the Gandanta point. All right, so that was my analysis and some cautions for all of you guys. And please understand that 75% of your main results is still coming from your dashas and antardashas. Do not forget to see your horoscope. All right, if you do not understand this, go and consult your gurus who knows more about your horoscope. But the rest of the 25% Gochara Phalam has to come from these type of events that are happening. All right, so you give equal weightage to moon sign and lagna as well. And do's and don'ts on a lunar eclipse day where the Gocharam is there. That means this particular eclipse, lunar eclipse, can be seen. Please avoid cooking. Please do not cook earlier and then keep the food and then eat it later after the eclipse is over. It's better to not cook there. You can start cooking once the eclipse is over, and then you can eat your food and things like that. Chanting prayers is very important during this time. Whatever mantra japam that you are going to do will get multiple folds and the results are going to be good. And then do not touch the plants and trees, and do not plant something newly and things like that. So most importantly, the pregnant ladies, I always recommend them not to move out, even though a lot of do's and don'ts are being listed here. Key point here is that solar eclipse is more stringent because of the ultraviolet rays getting exposed to the womb of the woman. So it's better even to play safe during the lunar eclipse as well. Okay, so do not eat food during the eclipse. That's what is my strong recommendation, especially in the North and South America and the western part of Europe and western part of Africa. Those countries which are affected, please be cautious. Even the western part of Australia and New Zealand. All right, so with this, we come to the end of this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the comment section. I will be glad to reply to your questions whenever I have free time. All right, please subscribe to this channel so that I can bring in more and more knowledgeable videos like this to you guys. All right, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.